Hi, welcome to the WINS Life Hacks and Life Coaching channel. I'm your host, Casey Turton, Certified Life Coach. I'm here to help you make yourself a better person, but as I say before every broadcast, a life coach is not a therapist, psychiatrist, or physician. So if you are particularly in need in your life of counseling and guidance in those areas, well, I'm certainly here to assure you to take those steps and reach out to that community. Meanwhile, let's talk about today's subject. Today, we're going to take a look at what I call our three selves. In this video, we're going to take a look at concepts that I've built over a long time working with my clients and studying behaviors and drawing sort of my own conclusions that I want to share with you as the first step to becoming a better person by improving your life planning. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about. As you can see in my diagram here, I'm not a professional artist, but this is the basis for what I call our three selves. Along the bottom here, you see the reference to the emotional and intellectual part of us that forms the base. Then we have our characters and our behaviors, and we'll examine each one of these areas to determine which one might be out of balance and could affect our ability to make good decisions for our life plans and become a better person. Now let's look at our emotions. And can you think of a time in your life when your emotions prevented you from making a decision or led to a poor decision because your emotions were out of balance? For example, moving, going to school, getting married, having children, buying a house, or something even as simple as picking out a color for a carpet or paint inside your house, which leads to an out of proportion conflict between spouse and their partner, okay? So let's examine some of the things that indicate what you are to do when you're out of balance. The first step to getting to know yourself and your emotional stability is to sit down with a pencil and paper and ask yourself these questions. When was it that my emotions got in the way of a good decision, and what was I exactly feeling at that time? Or let's take some other examples. Are you quick to anger? Do you shy away from risks? Do you have a hard time expressing yourself because your emotions have you all bottled up and you can't really find a way to talk to anybody? See, emotions are driven by lots and lots of things that people have studied for hundreds of years, and it's way beyond the scope of this video to get into. But again, I want to emphasize that it's important to balance your emotions and your intellectual approach to life so you can be confident that you're making a good decision. So if we're doing a life plan, that's going to be one of our first steps, is to look at how you're feeling, how you deal with the world, how you deal with your emotions, if you're on medication, if you're not on medication, if you're drinking too much, doing drugs. You know, you've heard all about these kinds of things in your life, I'm sure. So if any of those scenarios seem familiar, I'm sure you're a human being just like myself and not an AI robot. You need to ask yourself that question and do the work. Do the work with, what kind of emotional being am I? Now, if you remember, as I mentioned in a previous video, we had those two characters I'm always going to refer to because they're a great example of emotional intellectual balance, which is Mr. Spock and Captain Kirk, and all their clashes because of their different approaches to life, logic, and happiness. So, if you have any thoughts about handling emotions or being emotionally stable, or becoming a better person, please leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to take a look at them, respond to them, or you can simply email me at thewinslifehacks@gmail.com, and I'll respond as quickly as I can. If you have any other tips or advice for people on how to balance their emotional state so we can move along with our life and not get hung up, please forward that to me as well. Hey, there's a couple footnotes to that first chapter about dealing with your emotions. And again, just as a reminder, I can't really function as a counselor or mediator or physician, but I can tell you that your diet, your exercise, your mental state of mind has a lot to do with your emotions and how they help or hinder your life planning process. So what I would ask you to do again is to like the WINS Life Hacks and Life Coaching channel by subscribing. Stay tuned as we further examine our Three Selves, and kind of sorry for a little choppy edits there. I'll get it down, just have faith in me. So I'll see you soon on the next round of our emotional intellectual balance as we examine our Three Selves. Thanks.